So it's not like, as you're saying, some people have always wanted to read. They not read, sorry, to write. But it wasn't like that for you. There was something about this story that triggered something in you, or
Well, it was a combination of things. Certainly, when I read that story about this boy, I thought the idea of Googling yourself and discovering something unknown to you or something you don't remember or something about your past, that that to me, I thought it would make a wonderful fiction novel, or if I had known to write a screenplay, because I've seen the whole thing visually. So I think it would be a wonderful screenplay or perhaps a series, a TV series. And I just started writing it. But I think what happened was it was perfectly timed where I had just left a job that I had been working at for a long time, for about 12 years. And I was living in New York City, and I was doing the communications and public relations for a cosmetic company, for Estee Lauder. And I'd done that for a long time. And I had just had my second child. And so after he was born, I worked for a little while, and then my husband and I decided to move out of New York City and that I would stay home with the kids. But soon after I stayed home with the children, I thought it was kind of a real culture shock for me. I was not used to not working, and I was not used to sort of the pace of what I had experienced at Estee Lauder, and also, using that part of my brain. And I missed it desperately. And I thought, I'm living in this new town. I didn't know anyone in this new town. I was not working anymore. And all of my old social circle was really tied to living in New York and living and working at a company. And so it's almost like I started communicating with the book. I know that sounds bizarre, but it was my way of talking and also thinking on a level that made me feel creative. And creating the story was immensely thrilling for me. I just loved thinking about the storyline. And, when you're writing a thriller or a suspense, it is a puzzle. It really is. And you have to fit the pieces together. It's really important that um, when you give clues out to the reader and you either follow up on them or you don't, and so the process became really thrilling. Um, so I think all of that combined together and living in this new place, a suburb in New Jersey, where now I was an at home mom, and I thought, wow, it was the learning curve was really steep for me. And so meeting these other women and seeing what their lives was about and living in this beautiful place. And I remember thinking when I first moved here, this is really beautiful. And it seems like all these people are really, upstanding and uh, intelligent. And I thought, I love the fact that I loved the idea of making a dark story and setting it in a beautiful place where it appears everything is on the up and up. Do you know what I mean?
yeah, like everything just seems right and just lovely, and people have, they've got capacities, they're intelligent, and they're doing things.
Yeah, they're
Yeah.
decent folks. And then, I talk about this phenomena, and you know it too. It's when you're looking at the local news at night and you're watching television and you see somebody's neighborhood, and maybe it's close to your home or the next town over, and the police are showing up at somebody's house and they're dragging some poor guy out. And then all of a sudden, the newscaster goes to the neighbor and says, "Oh, excuse me, neighbor, what do you make of this? I mean, how long have you lived here? And how long have you lived next to this guy?" And the neighbor always says, "Well, he was the nicest guy. And he was, he helped me cut my lawn and he walked my kids to school." And then you discover the crazy thing about the neighbor, So I love that whole phenomena. So that happens in this story where there's somebody you think is perfectly decent and upstanding and a real community person, and then you find out maybe that's not so. And that leads to another thing that I'm really fascinated with is misconceptions, and the misconceptions based on the way a person looks or where the person lives, or and so I really love playing with that. And the book that I'm currently writing also has an element of that. Is you judge people, judge other people, and they judge people based on what they look like and what kind of job they have and where they live, and there may be something going on there that's not obvious.